Yo, what's going on? In this bonus episode, we have top American at the Tokyo World Championships Marathon, Clayton Young, here with us. Fresh battle scars and all from his time out on the streets of Tokyo. Clayton, thank you for your time. How are you today?
Oh, thanks for having me on, Kafusi. It's good to be here. It's nice to be sitting down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm tired. I'm sore.
Okay.
I'm hungry for more.
Sounds good.
I'm good though.
All right, good. Well, let's just jump into it. First question I have is, morning of the race, did you look at your recovery scores?
Did someone tip you off on this?
No,
I'm serious.
No. It's something that a bunch of us were wondering if you had them.
I actually did not check my recovery scores.
Okay.
I've gotten in a pretty good habit of not checking them, the day of the race, and even maybe I kind of try to ignore them the days leading to a race.
Okay.
After the race, I did check them, and a little bit of a story there, but no, I did not on race day.
Good. In terms of like getting to race day, though, you didn't come straight from Utah. Where were you before, and how long were you there?
Yeah, so we left Utah on the 6th, and we landed here in Tokyo on the 7th, which is about 7 days out from the race. And we went straight up to Nagano to an altitude camp called Unimaru. It's Team USA put it together, which was amazing. I was there with a lot of other big, distance athletes for Team USA, and we got to train up there. It's literally like a mini ski resort with like 6 buildings, like a dining hall, a dormitory, and we just spent a lot of time together playing cards, eating food, and running. Like that was our life for 6 days before coming down.
Let's talk about the food, though. What kind of food were you eating? Were you eating Japanese food? Did you bring a lot of your own food for continuity, or like what? So what was that like?
Yeah, I did bring like some staples that I like pre-run for continuity, but honestly, Team USA really provided well. They brought 2 chefs out from the United States. They'd go down to the city of Tomi every day and kind of get the grocery list. They could request whatever we wanted, and we were well taken care of, to be honest.
What was the temperature and humidity like up in camp?
Yeah, it was like pretty moderate the first couple days. Like obviously a little bit cooler, but still humid. And we would drive down to different places around the area to get better running in, or to get on the roads, or they have actually a really cool like rubber cross country course, and so we could kind of do some acclimatization there, but it was definitely cooler, and by the end it was actually pretty like rainy, foggy, cool. But every day I would bundle up for all my runs, and then they have an onsen, or like a hot bath there, that I used every day for my heat training, and it was great.
And so then when did you get back into Tokyo?
We left on the 13th, which was Saturday, and it was just a quick Shinkansen bullet train, an hour and a half, and a short train to the hotel.
And then when you got here, I think something that I've been having a hard time like conveying to people is just like how uncomfortably hot it is, even though it's September now.
Yeah.
What was that like realization, or what were your thoughts when you got off the train and you're like, yeah, this is why they had to move it back a month?
Yeah, it was interesting. Like, it's something that I've always prepared for ever since I knew that I was going to race Worlds, is that it was going to be hot, it was going to be humid, but yeah, we wanted at least 2 runs in Tokyo before the race so I could kind of really get a feel for it. And I maybe dramatized it in my mind so much that yes, it was hot, yes, it was humid, and those first couple runs here I was sweating as much as ever, but like I guess I played it up in my mind so much that it was actually okay. It was manageable. And I think what was interesting too is like the cloud cover was so thick, at least the days that we were here and even race day, that the direct sunlight wasn't huge. And so yes, it was muggy and I was sweating like a madman, but that's what I trained my body to do, and I was prepared for it.
Okay. Did you watch the women's race the day before?
I did get to watch. I watched like the first 15 minutes, and then I had to go on my run for timing, and then I got to watch kind of the middle end. Mm-hmm. But yeah, super inspired.
And any changes to your plans after watching how the women attacked the course?
Yeah, we got some insight from some of the American women about how a lot of the East African talent was like trying to slow the race down. Mm-hmm. They were like, talking amongst each other, trying to slow it down. And so that's why a couple of the American women took off. And so I was kind of prepared for that. I was like, okay, maybe it's going to slow down. And if anybody knows CJ Albertson, like CJ loves to run his race, and that was kind of his plan. And so I was like, okay, what do I do if CJ takes off and everyone else wants to run in the pack? So I just had more scenarios in my mind. It did help a little bit knowing like how they responded to heat, that, you know, they maybe over dramatized it as well. And that it wasn't it was going to be bad, but, you know, I think as athletes, we just prepare obsessively. And so I just knew that I was prepared for that. I guess the biggest shocker is, you know, I was told that the crowds would be there, but it would be very calm. You know, the Japanese culture, you know, golf clapping, you know, just cheering, not like a New York or a Boston, but something maybe about it being Monday on a holiday for my race compared to the women's race on a Sunday. Like, it was so loud on race day, and that was something I was not prepared for.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of like the second marathon I've experienced in Tokyo. I ran the marathon myself a couple of years ago, and I've experienced like the quietness. Like, I heard more cheers from like my fellow runners a lot than I heard from like on the sides, but that was like right after like pandemic restrictions were lifting, and so like I think they were still discouraging a lot of like cheering and stuff. But from what I saw, it seemed like people were very excited to watch the race, and they were very excited to cheer on not just the Japanese runner, but everyone out there.
Yeah, they were definitely, well, I would say I was next to a Japanese athlete the majority of the race, so it just seemed like incessant. And even at the end, you know, he was right behind me, and I was like, "Don't get caught!" Don't. Anyway. By the cheers, I could tell how close he was. And it was a nice little cue.
Nice. Can you tell me about the hats you guys were wearing?
Yeah, the hat situation was a little bit interesting this time. It was really well designed. There were ice pockets on both sides and one in the front, and then obviously like a shawl on your neck. I don't know if it was because it was hot or muggy. It just didn't seem to cool as much as I had hoped. And so I was kind of debating whether I should wear the hats or the Omius band. You know, based off of the women's marathon, like first and second didn't wear hats, third wore the Omius band. And so I was trying to really debate beforehand, and I'd already kind of committed to the Omius band, but then the hats that they provided were like pretty well done, and we could get them every 10K. That's kind of what we wanted, just because, you know, the ice would take about 30 minutes to melt. So yeah, I was trying to be careful about that. And that sometimes I just wanted airflow, just like more convection to kind of cool me off. And so there were times I'd wear it, times I wouldn't. Towards the end, I was kind of just wanting to be free, to like let the airflow come. And so, like, I feel, is that the same, or do you know if that's the same hats that the women were wearing, the American women were wearing? It looked the same to me. Yes, it was the same hat. It sounded like Jess McLean started with a visor, and then she switched to the hats, and it was the same hats. Okay, so who's concocting that situation? Yeah, I think we had heard that there were hats, and, you know, based off of my experience at the Paris Olympics and our ability to switch hats, like, I knew that protocol, and I think a lot of the other athletes for Team USA were kind of looking to me to kind of know what I did at Paris and what I did at the trials, you know, with my bottle technique to kind of switch between them, and so I think that's kind of what we defaulted to. And you know, there was some engineering that was done to the hats that was helpful for sure. I think it could have used more ice. They kind of had some molds that they would freeze like these bands of ice to put in it, and I think the molds could have been bigger and just like more bulky, more ice. But you know, your body also becomes perceptive, so it doesn't feel like it's cooling because you kind of become numb to it, and it was really hard to tell if it was really working or not. It's just miserable. I mean, that's how I feel about the Omius headband too, because I've tested it, and the first time you put it on, you're like, okay. And then after a while, you're like, I don't know if this is working. So it's kind of hard. You have to do like the back of the hand check, right? That's what I kept doing with the Omius as well, to kind of really see, okay, is it working? And it is. I was a little bit nervous about keeping it wet, the Omius band, especially because the aid stations were crazy. They were so hectic. And it's just the fight just to get water was almost hard enough.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a couple of World Championships marathons, and like those are the wildest aid stations like I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because it seems like a lot of, at least from the Africans, a lot of them will sprint ahead
Yes.
to give themselves room, and
Yep.
so you're like, oh, what's happening? And you're like, oh, aid station.
Yep. Yeah.
And so, how often were you guys getting aid stations?
Yeah, so our personalized fluids were every 5K as normal, and then there were general aid stations in between all of those. So there was maybe 12 to 14 times that we were able to get fluids, and at the end of each aid station, of the personal stations, there was also it would go water and then ice and then sponges, and so. And honestly, it was kind of a big disadvantage because we were Team USA, which is at the end, and so we had to navigate all of the other countries, get our stuff, and then still be able to try to grab water, ice, and sponge. Anyway, it was mayhem, and it's something I actually didn't really plan for. In these world major marathons or in these other big, even the Olympic Games, like I felt like it's strung out. And the world major marathons, like you have a very high caliber amount of athletes, but not a lot of athletes. Whereas for worlds, the pack was huge forever, and I just was trying to stay positive and patient.
Yeah, I mean, it was a gigantic pack for
Yeah.
a really long time. Like from my estimation, it was about between like 35K and 40K until it started to splinter. Is that what you recall?
Exactly, yeah. There was a brief surge, maybe 33, 34K as we were going through the Imperial Palace cobblestone area, or just before that, and I was like, oh, this is it. And I covered that move really well. I was really confident, but then as soon as we turned in front of the Imperial Palace, there was a slight headwind and they pumped the brakes again, and I was like, and then, it wasn't until, it was just a patient game. Yeah.
When was the move that broke. Where they broke away from you guys? Was it going up the hill towards the end?
It was right towards the end of the hill. Yeah, okay. It was maybe 39K. It's kind of a tough pill to swallow, to be honest, because that's what I've trained for. That's what I planned for. That was my time. That was take a risk after 35K. And so it was kind of discouraging to get to that moment, and my legs were pretty heavy.
In the lead up, in the videos that you were putting out,
Yeah.
you've mentioned that you had some issues with your ankle.
Yeah.
Was that a problem, or was that something in your mind at all during the race?
It wasn't a problem at all during the race. I rolled it 3-4 weeks ago now, and then I rolled it again a week later, and that was pretty hard. But I have a really, really good team, and they really helped me through my rehab, and we got on it pretty quick, and luckily I responded well to even just being able to train and even the rehab. When I rolled it again, it was a good reminder that I had to keep on that proprioception, because you essentially sever all of that communication to your ankle. And but by race day, if I pronated a certain way, I would feel it for sure, and I could. But in the race, it was totally fine. My high right hamstring, which I'd felt since Boston, it was kind of in a really good spot, to be honest. And then when I rolled my ankle, I started compensating more, and so that injury came back.
Okay.
And so that was my biggest worry within the last week of the taper. It's pretty painful.
And was it bothering you during the race?
Yeah.
I think the last time we talked, you had it was in Atlanta, and you had some back problems.
Yeah.
So it sounds like we're going through a list of all your injuries, but since we're talking about it, how are those? Is that right hamstring related to the back, or separate, or how's that?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit related. That right posterior chain has always been just super tight. Right Achilles, right hamstring, right lower back. I've gotten a pretty good protocol now for my lower back that I haven't felt that probably since in a big way since Atlanta, to be honest. Okay. So I've done a lot of strengthening and a really good warm-up procedures, so that way that doesn't happen. And I've just gotten faster. And so in general, because I'm so fast now, my lower back was often a result of almost overstriding, over stretching, and so because I'm so much faster, like paces don't aggravate. You know, it's a tightness issue. It's not an injury issue, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm just stronger, to be honest.
Rewinding a little bit to the race, you took a fall at like the 15K. I know you've talked about it a lot,
It's okay.
but like, what was going through your mind like as you hit the ground? It wasn't like a, you know, hit the ground like and roll a little bit. You slid on that on that pavement. What was going through your mind as you were picking yourself up?
Yeah, initially when I felt, I mean, it happened so suddenly. Like it was like I was bang, bang. Like there was no slow motion in my mind. It was just all of a sudden I found myself on the ground. And I do remember sliding and being grateful that the road was generally smooth. Like the Tokyo roads are nice. And I was pretty lucky, to be honest. I was trying to replay in my mind like why I fell. And, you know, I felt like I had stubbed my toe. I didn't know if I was bumped. But I finally caught a video of what had happened. And yeah, for sure, it was mostly my fault. I just caught a toe. And I was switching ice from my left hand to my right hand. And maybe was distracted, maybe got nudged. But it was like no one to blame but myself, really. And which was both comforting and also discouraging. It's like, I did this to myself. Bouncing back up, you know, I immediately flashed back to, you know, John Career in Boston when he fell, you know, Jordy Beamish in the steeplechase, you know, these other people. And I was just like, okay, like they were able to do it. Take a big breath. They always tell you, you know, like don't respond immediately, you know, don't overreact, try to keep your adrenaline low. But, you know, and it was a pretty quick gut check of like, okay, how are my hands? How are my knees? And immediately I could feel my left knee. And I was just like, okay, it's like there. And then as I started to run more and more, and as I started to kind of speed up to catch the pack again, you know, it started getting tighter and tighter. And I was like, okay, like it's like I can run through it, but it seems like it's progressing and I don't want it to change my form, right? Like that's the real thing. But luckily by about 10 more K, maybe, because I fell about 12, 14K, somewhere in there. By about 24, 25K, by and large, I didn't feel it anymore, except for when we were surging. When we would surge, that whole leg extension, I could feel it. And yeah, I guess looking back, like, did it affect things? Like, yes, it did to some degree, but honestly, I was pretty lucky and I handled it pretty well. I don't know if it would have changed the result. Maybe it would have. I don't like to play that game.
Yeah.
I don't like to. I'm just not a victim to my circumstances.
Yeah. I mean, it looked like, I saw you at like 18K, and then that little loop around, I saw you, I think it's like at 21. And by then you had made contact back with the pack, and you looked fine.
Yeah.
To me by that point. So like, I didn't even know that you had fallen until like the race was over, and I was going back and like, checking notes on how the race went.
Yeah, I guess I can fake it pretty well. I think I'm known for that. Like my training partner Casey Klinger once told me, he's like, what's the hardest thing about racing you, Clayton, is that nobody knows how you're actually feeling. Like and it's not intentional. It's just like, I think it's my way of trying to be as smooth and efficient as possible, and just psychologically trying to convince myself that I feel okay. But yeah, there was pain.
What shoes did you race in?
The Metaspeed Sky Tokyo.
Okay. And you've run in the Sky series, like in Paris, you wore the Sky Paris?
Yes, Sky Paris, the original Sky. Yeah, I guess there was a brief time I did some shorter races in the Edge, but by and large I've been, a Sky stan.
Okay. Same. But like I've also seen you do a lot of training in the Ray.
Yep.
Was that a consideration, or tell me like what the thought process was?
Yeah. It seems like right after the Olympic Games before New York, I did quite a bit of testing, biomechanics testing as well. And initially, the results came back that the Ray and the Sky were pretty equal to me from a VO2, like, what do they call it?
Like an efficiency?
A VO2, yeah, I guess VO2 efficiency uptake. And so from there was kind of this idea of like, okay, like if these are equal, which one will help me go the distance? And because I was so much more confident in the Sky, it was like, I should maybe just stick with the Sky for now and wait until I can put more training in the Ray and get my body more efficient in the Ray before I switch. And I just haven't had the time to put the time into the Ray to kind of have that confidence yet in it. But yeah, the fact that it's nearly 100 grams lighter than the Sky just kind of shows me, early biomechanics testing kind of told us 100 grams is equal to about 1% in efficiency. And so if I can, if the two shoes are testing the same efficiency, I should be able to run at least 1% faster in the Ray with time. And so we're just waiting for a win of time when I can put some real miles on it. Maybe a little insight as well is, as professional athletes, we get prototypes, but maybe it's me not being as vocal, but you never know when your next prototype is coming.
Okay.
And so, I don't know how many miles can I put on a Ray before I'm going to get another one. And so I'd hate to toe the line of a race and not be able to get my hands on another Ray. But now that they're public, now that they're available, I can now like really put some testing on it and know that I can always pick up another pair.
Okay. 9th overall to finish on the day. I know that's not what you were hoping for. I watched some of your post-race, like immediate post-race interviews. Visibly, you're emotional, could tell you that you're disappointed. Having had a night to sleep on it, have any of those thoughts changed? Or how are you feeling about 9th overall but top American?
I look back, I have a really good friend that sent out a list of all of the Americans that have competed at the World Championships over the last 15 years or 20 years, maybe even 30 years actually. And I'm one of the best to ever do it from an American standpoint, right? I think I'm the second or third all time. And he reminded me, 2 years ago I was looking at Zach Panning take 13 at Budapest, and in a way I looked at that and I was like, wow, like he did so great. Like I was really happy and stoked for him, and I had him on my radar for the Olympic Games, right? And now for me to take 9th, it's weird how my perspective has changed. I'm like, 9th. And, expectations are just higher than ever. After having slept on it, I can be grateful in my consistency. There's something that I can be really proud about that. My coach at iStone, he's often known for saying, consistent competence brings eventual excellence. And, I talk about that phrase a lot. But there's nothing more true than, the result that I just put up, right? There will be eventually excellence. We just have to keep swinging. We have to keep fighting. And I'm hungrier than ever for a breakthrough. And kind of as I said in my post-race interviews, I think there is something to be said that this honestly was the best build I've ever had. And yes, that didn't translate to a race, but to the race, but it will translate to the next race. And the fact that I was able to kind of navigate, my second international race ever, my knee, the fall, the ankle, the high hamstring, like there's just been a lot of, really good decision making, and there's more to come with that. So, meh.
I mean, the way that I was looking at this race, and like kind of like, when you had come in, but before I had seen like your post-race interviews, I was like, Clayton did a really damn good job out there, but I know he's going to be disappointed. And something that like people have been talking about all week is how like this is kind of like the redo for Tokyo in the Olympics that they missed, that they never got to really hold. And I was thinking about it like for the Olympic trials for Tokyo, you had come in as 136th American. And here in Tokyo, like if we're going to, kind of have that full circle moment, you're now coming in as top American. And I would say that as an American myself, I would say that I thank you. Thanks. Because I think you represented us well out there on the marathon.
Thank you. Thanks, Kafusi.
You're welcome. Can we switch it up for some lighter stuff?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
I heard that you're going to be in the lead car in Chicago.
Yes.
And maybe New York.
Yeah.
There is another ASICS marathoner who had that honor last year. Dina was on the lead women's car.
Yeah.
Have you talked to her yet?
I
Got some
haven't.
tips and pointers?
I mean, she's the guru of this world.
Yeah.
And so I need to take some time. I mean, the day ended yesterday, like the world ended yesterday. And so now it's all about kind of rehashing it, like moving forward, like planning the next thing. And so, I'm lucky that I've got, Coach Eyestone that'll be on the broadcast, and Keir D'Amato that's done it before, and Dina Castor that's obviously in the ASICS world that has done this many, many times. So I need to do some different type of work for a while. I'm excited.
All right. How much longer are you going to be in Japan?
We planned for a good 5 or 6 days, so we're excited. We're gonna watch some more races. We're gonna enjoy some time. Like, I haven't been part of any of the planning. Shout out to Ashley, who has kind of been managing a lot of the logistics for this week, and it's gonna be a good time.
Good.
Yeah.
Have you been able to explore any of the Japanese food since you've been here? Any snacks, vending machines? Like, what's some of the fun stuff that you've been able to do so far, or are looking forward to doing now that your race is over?
Yeah, I'm super excited. Like, Asian food is my jam. Like, I love this, and it's always my post-race jam too. And so even last night we got back to hotel well after midnight, and I just had to get some ramen. Like, and so I'm really excited to be here. But we also, Ashley's done a lot of the research as well, and so we got some candied strawberries yesterday, which was amazing.
That's one of my favorite things to eat here.
Super good. I'm sure we'll do more. And yeah, I'm trying to think. I still haven't had any gyoza yet, which I'm super excited for. I haven't had sushi yet.
Okay.
There's still a lot of things. Like, we had to be pretty dialed in up till yesterday, and we haven't had those American chefs that were awesome. But I'm excited to eat.
Okay. And any souvenirs you're planning on bringing home for the kids?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, that was one of their one requests.
Okay.
Which is super kind. So we haven't found the right thing yet. But I'm excited. I miss my girls.
Yeah, it's fun to do this searching for the souvenirs too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of your time in Japan. Thank you for your time.
Yeah. Thank you, Kafusi.